All right, hey guys, back. So it probably, if we think about it for a little bit, won't come as a huge surprise that Durkheim is going to fall back on the reality that he sees. He sees these things called social facts that are bigger than people, that are the focus of sociology, and that are supposed to get the morality into us. And he says, well, okay, so, I mean, the choice is kind of obvious, isn't it? We have this problem. Um, we solve the problem of dynamic density with the division of labor, but it creates a problem because it weakens the collective consciousness and makes it harder for us to have a common morality. So, what are we going to do if we have pathological divisions of labor that don't allow us to see our interdependence and our cooperation with others? What do we do? Well, there isn't really a huge choice in terms of the category of our solution. The only thing that could possibly happen is social facts. We have to create or use the ones that exist to get this sense of morality into people. Remember, social facts are not just things that are true. They are these realities that exist above the individual level. They're not reducible to things in my head. Yes, we invent them through our interactions, but then they just exist. And Durkheim says that's what we do. We have to be more intentional about the ones that we create. So, social facts to the rescue. This and what he's looking at specifically, and you can kind of see from where we're going. Occupational associations and moral education. This is for adults and this is for kids. What he's looking at is a sort of middle range. If you have the government up here, that's too remote for most people. It's the government, even if people trust it, it's going to be difficult for the government to come down to the level of individuals to make them feel integrated. It can obviously regulate them. Totalitarian states do that all the time. But when you are just being told what to do, you don't feel necessarily integrated. But it's higher than the level of family, where, you know, families are obviously wonderful, but they don't make you feel necessarily connected to other people. And the other one that's kind of obvious and that some of us still use are churches. Durkheim didn't have tons of faith in the ability of churches to provide this sort of integrating and regulating role as we moved forward. It's not that he thought they weren't worthwhile. It's that he saw, as a collective consciousness weakens, it becomes less religious. So he's looking for secular solutions to this problem. Again, that's not a knock on religion. He is looking at the reality and trying to do what he can to make the best call he can about what's going to work for people. And these are the solutions that he came up with. An occupational association is how he proposed integrating and regulating adults. He said that what it would be is it would encompass all the agents of a particular industry and organize them into a single group. So where Marx saw this sort of class conflict, Durkheim's like, it doesn't have to be that way. The reason we have this class conflict is we don't have this common morality. If we can create that, this sense of integration between capitalists and workers, between different levels of management, if we can create that connectedness, then we can have a sense of integration among all of them, and that can be our mechanism for regulating people, because we know these people and we will be accountable to them. Once we feel integrated, we will be like, yeah, I do depend on you. You, owner of of the place where I work, I do depend on you. You provide the machinery and you pay me. And the owner can look at the worker and say, yeah, you know what? But I depend on you as well. If you're not making this stuff that I'm selling, I don't make any money either. We're kind of in it together. Now, yeah, naive's not the word. Durkheim's too brilliant to be naive. But it would take some work. And there would probably be questions about, has our collective consciousness weakened to the point that we could not even see that as a viable option? It's possible. Remember, he's writing 100 years ago. For children, because he believed that you wanted to sort of inculcate this sense of common morality from the beginning, schools are the obvious place for that. He believed that this sort of, remember his term, collective effervescence. I mean, if you think about a school in an ideal world, I mean, before you get your creativity beaten out of you, schools are a place of excitement, and that it is a place that could easily channel that excitement into this sort of pro the society common sense of morality. It could teach people discipline. It could allow kids to feel as though, yes, I have autonomy because I am going to be doing this out of my own desire to do it. Again, if you've experienced American schools, it's a little hard. It's a little bit of a stretch. In an ideal way, you can see this as a possibility, but Durkheim is writing 100 years ago, and it may be that isn't a feasible solution now. For me personally, I don't know about either one of these. I'm not sure. But I do think that he's absolutely right that if we want to have some sort of common morality, it has to come from some sort of middle level social fact. And I think he's really perceptive about the fact that if we want to have a sense of common morality, we need to be integrated. We need to feel as though other people aren't just other things that exist in our day-to-day lives, but that we're connected to them, that we depend on them in some ways. That recognition, I think, does seem valuable. And I don't know. I mean, maybe those things would work. I mean, who can tell? Durkheim's smarter than I am. All right. That brings us to the end of Durkheim. We have one more video where I'm going to just sort of do a recap, but we've basically gotten ourselves from this is what humans are about. This is what they need in order to have fulfilling lives. This is the problem that we encounter nowadays in the late 19th, early 20th, and for us 21st centuries. This is the solution to it. And along the way, we see some pretty amazing insights about recognizing religions as they are practiced as being about devotion to society, my personal favorite, that one, as well as his understanding of the importance of integration. But anyway, this is all recap. I will see you in the next video to finish up. It'll be brief.